Spider-Man Last Hunt premieres on January 29th only on LewisFilms. You can watch the official trailer in the description below. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 surprise villains I want for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But before we do get into that, if you are new around here and enjoy all types of Spider-Man content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to not miss another video. But with that being said, let's get into it. Number 5, Mysterio. Now, what I'd like Mysterio to be in this game is sort of like a shocker type introduction villain to the game. So like how in Spider-Man PS4, the first big villain that we went up against was actually the Shocker. We got a chase scene, then we had to fight him in the bank. I want Mysterio to play this sort of role because I don't think he's a villain that could be really expanded in the story that we've gotten and the story that we were given in the first game. However, I do think he'll be just a cool villain to maybe fight on a one-off occasion, just to maybe go through the tutorials with different combos and different ways of fighting the villains and stuff like that. I think Mysterio would be a cool way to reintroduce us into this world. He could also provide the Insomniac team to be more creative with the leveling, as he could provide a really cool illusion mission where Spider-Man has to jump through different illusions, which means we don't just have to fight him in New York, but we could fight him in all types of different settings, which would be really, really cool. Number 4, Tombstone and the Margir crime family. Now, this one is more due to the fact that I want that story from the first game to be continued, and I really liked how it really kept that game grounded, and it wasn't just all about the big villains. Now, I think they could do the same thing here in the sequel, where they could bring in some of the smaller villains and the street crime, like Tombstone, like they did with Hammerhead, and we've got all the Yuri stuff going on now as well, and with the Kingpin, and stuff that really keeps it to that grounded level. Like in the comics, Spider-Man faces off against street-level villains all the time, while still dealing with the big ones like Green Goblin and Doc Ock. So it'd be really cool to see the Margir crime family step in again in this game, and really continue their story. Now, obviously, this would only still be side missions, side quests, and little B-plots here and there like we saw at the end of the main game where there was that side mission once you had finished the game. So I do think that this would be cool to have in there. However, I don't think it would be a big part of the game. Number 3, Doc Ock. Now, I know what you're thinking. We had Doc Ock as the main villain in the last game. Why would we want to fight him again? Now, I don't necessarily mean fight him. Now, if you guys have played Spider-Man Miles Morales, you'll know that Doc Ock actually has a cameo in a scene with Peter Parker where they go to some kind of science fair. I really like that relationship between Otto and Peter in the first game, and I really loved how they continued it in Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, even if it's for a scene here or there in this game, I'd really love to see them continue that relationship, maybe just through a couple of cutscenes between Ock and Spider-Man. This could also create a really cool dynamic, because if you do remember after the last game, Ock said that his identity would be safe with him in quotation marks. Obviously, that means that there could be some kind of tension there, since Otto knows Spider-Man's secret identity. So therefore, he could be tied into the story that way somehow. Maybe Kraven or Norman goes to him to find out Spider-Man's identity after the symbiote is stolen or something like that. And I just really want them to continue that Doc Ock story, because I do think, personally, there is potential for a superior Spider-Man story somewhere in the future of this universe. Obviously, it won't happen in the next game, but come the 3rd or 4th game, there could be room and potential to tell that kind of story. Number 2, the Prowler. Now, this is just purely focusing on the Miles side of things. Obviously, the Miles game wasn't as big as the Peter game. However, I really do hope that they don't just focus everything on Peter in this game, and I really do hope they carry most of the elements from the Miles game over into this one as well. I.e., I want to see that Prowler and Miles relationship continue. Their relationship in the first game was a weird one, because Prowler was kind of a villain, but he also kind of wasn't a villain at the same time. He was someone that Miles would come across and fight, but Prowler wasn't the main antagonist of the story. And because of that, I really do think they are saving him for a future Miles game where he's the big bad, and there is a real conflict between Uncle Iron and Miles Morales. And I really hope that that story isn't just ditched for all of the Kraven Venom stuff in this one. I really hope there's at least some side missions, maybe a side quest or a B-plot, where the Prowler comes in, and we maybe see him a couple of times, just as I mentioned for Doc Ock. And now, because this is technically a Miles game as well, since he is co-starring it with Peter, I wouldn't be surprised if Prowler does make some sort of appearance. Number 1, the Lizard. Now, obviously, we saw Dr. Connors in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Miles Morales with Norman Osborn, and this tells me that with Dr. Connors closely tied to Norman Osborn and the whole Venom stuff, we could potentially be seeing the Lizard have some kind of B-plot where he is sort of like a main villain, but he's not. He's sort of like a supporting villain, just while other stuff happens in the game. Now, although it is rumoured that this role will be taken up by Kraven in the game, it's not out the realm of possibility that the reason Kraven gets introduced in the first place and makes a name for himself is that he maybe goes after the Lizard. After all, he is Kraven the Hunter. So the way I envision this going down is that the Lizard is a very first half of the game villain, and then Spider-Man is trying to catch him, and then Kraven helps him. And then after Peter accidentally gets the symbiote, Norman notices Kraven's expertise, and then hires him to go and take down Spider-Man. And then we could have some sort of relationship that has been built up between Kraven and Spider-Man that ultimately gets torn down because Kraven obviously wants the money and has been hired by Norman. Those are just some ideas I've thrown out there that could be possible for the game, but I do think Lizard could fit in there some way or another. Plus, Lizard missions could really provide a really cool setting, since we could be going underground into the sewers, and it could provide that sense of unreliability and not feeling safe with your surroundings because Peter's going into the sewers, you know, it's somewhere that we've never been before. And I think there'll be a cool level design to finally get somewhere that's not New York City, since we've had it in 2 games. But with that being said, that is my top 5 villains list for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. What are your top 5 villains for this game? With that being said, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit a like on the video, make sure to subscribe if you are new to make sure you don't miss any more content as soon as it comes out on the channel in the future. With that being said, also make sure to hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you can get the videos as soon as they come out. Spider-Man Last Hunt premieres on January 29th, only on LewisFilms. Make sure to book that off on your calendars. That is going to be so awesome. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I've worked really hard on that project. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.